All right, let's get right into it. There is a huge but kind of quiet revolution happening in the way we build, well, everything. And it's not happening on some noisy construction site. Nope, it's happening inside clean, super efficient factories. Today, we're going to look at the global blueprint for prefabricated buildings.
And just to give you an idea of the scale we're talking about, look at this number, $36.1 billion. And get this, that's the size of the prefab housing market in the US alone just for this year. This is not some little niche idea for the future. It's a massive industry that's already here, already reshaping our world.
So that really leads us to the big question, right? We all know the problems. Housing costs are through the roof, construction seems to take forever, and there's a serious labor shortage. So what if the answer to all of that has been hiding in plain sight this whole time? Inside a factory.
Now, I know when you hear the word prefab, you might be picturing, a simple, boring cookie cutter box. We've got to get that image out of our heads because the prefab boom happening right now is all about sophisticated, high-tech construction that is anything but basic.
See, the term prefab actually covers a whole family of really cool technologies. You've got modular, where entire 3D chunks of a building, I'm talking a fully finished hotel room with the paint and plumbing already done, are built in a factory and then stacked like Lego blocks on site. Then there's panelized, where the flat walls are made off-site. And then you get into these super innovative ideas like foldable buildings and, of course, repurposed shipping containers.
So why is this all exploding right now? Well, it really boils down to three huge drivers. First is speed. I mean, when you build indoors, you get rid of weather delays, and you can often cut construction time in half. Second, affordability. With a global housing crisis, building more efficiently is one of the only ways to bring down costs. And finally, sustainability. A controlled factory setting creates way less waste and lets you build super tight, energy-efficient buildings.
Okay, so let's zoom in on the biggest and, let's be honest, most relatable piece of this entire puzzle, our homes. This is where prefab is having its biggest impact, completely reinventing the idea of where and how a home is even made.
And it's not even close. All around the world, residential construction is the #1 use for prefab. It's the largest slice of the pie by a long shot. This isn't just for one-off projects anymore. It's becoming a central part of the housing industry.
And the variety here is just incredible. In big cities, developers are stacking modular apartments to build towers way faster. Out in the suburbs, you've got these beautiful factory-built single-family homes. There's a huge boom in what people are calling backyard homes, or ADUs, often made from cool containers or kits. And in colder places, like Canada, factories are churning out these super insulated homes built to handle the extreme weather.
This right here is what's shattering all those old, outdated stigmas. Today's prefab homes, you often can't even tell the difference from a traditionally built one. People expect and get custom designs, high-end finishes, and amazing energy performance. It's proving that factory built can absolutely mean better built.
But wait, the story does not end with houses. Now we get to some of the really surprising ways this technology is being used, solving problems in ways you'd probably never guess. This is where things get really, really versatile.
Okay, picture your next vacation. Whether you're thinking of a city hotel or a quiet cabin in the woods, there's a pretty good chance it could be built in a factory. The hospitality world is jumping on this trend big time.
I love this slide because it shows how prefab is literally changing how we travel. Major hotel chains are using modular rooms to get new hotels open months ahead of schedule. That whole glamping trend, it's powered by these awesome prefab cabins you can place in stunning locations with hardly any impact on the environment. And designers are turning shipping containers into these really unique experiential suites that are a destination all by themselves.
All right, let's shift gears to something much more serious. When a natural disaster hits and people lose everything, the #1 thing they need is shelter. And in those moments, speed is everything. And this is where innovations like foldable houses become an absolute lifeline. The process is just brilliant. These structures get shipped totally flat-packed, kind of like IKEA furniture, right to a disaster zone. Then a small crew can literally unfold and assemble them in just a few hours. The result is instant, strong shelter that can even be folded back up and used again for the next crisis. It's amazing.
And this is being used all over the world. In the US, agencies like FEMA are looking at modular units for hurricane and wildfire relief. In Europe, during refugee crises, entire villages of container homes have popped up in record time, giving thousands of displaced families safe, warm housing.
So beyond our homes and emergency situations, this tech is also building the very fabric of our communities. The places we learn, heal, and work in every single day.
Just think about it for a second. When a school gets too crowded, you can add modular classrooms over a single summer break. The UK's National Health Service has been a huge adopter, using modular construction to quickly add new hospital wings and clinics. You see it in those trendy pop-up shops built from shipping containers, and in the remote housing camps for miners in places like Australia and Canada.
So, we've seen what's being built, but the why really changes depending on where you are in the world. This is definitely a global trend, but it has these really distinct local flavors. Let's compare 4 key markets to see how they're each using this technology.
And wow, this chart really puts the scale into perspective, doesn't it? The US is the biggest single market by a pretty wide margin. But then you have the European Union as this collective powerhouse, and Australia has a super substantial market too, especially for its population. The numbers just prove this is a truly global movement.
This table right here gets to the absolute heart of the story. You can see how each region is using prefab to solve its own unique problems. In the US, it's all about fighting the housing affordability crisis and a shortage of construction workers. In Canada, it's about building homes for harsh, cold climates and getting housing to remote communities. Over in Australia, it's a direct answer to skilled labor shortages and the need for homes that can survive things like bushfires and cyclones. And in the EU, strict sustainability rules are pushing the demand for ultra-energy efficient homes and modular public buildings like hospitals.
Okay, so after looking at all these different uses and markets, what does it all mean? What's the big takeaway for the future of building and for you?
If there is one single thing to remember from all of this, it's this. Prefabrication is not an alternative anymore. It's gone mainstream. In countries all over the world, it's now a significant part of all new construction. It's moved from the sidelines right into the center of the industry.
And that whole shift? It's being powered by technology. New digital design tools, advanced materials, and smart factory automation mean that today's factory-built buildings can be higher quality, more sustainable, and way more customized than we ever thought was possible. The old limits? They're pretty much gone.
Which leaves us with one last big question to think about. As this global revolution picks up speed, driven by the need to build faster, smarter, and more sustainably, could your next home, or the office you work in, or even the next hospital you visit actually be built in a factory? The answer is looking more and more like a definite yes.